The role of technology companies has come under the spotlight in the ongoing NSA spying scandal. So, just what are these companies doing to protect their users' privacy? I spoke to Amie Stepanovich from the Electronic Privacy Information Center to find out.
And Epic submitted a request to the NSA in 2010 asking them for their contacts with Google as a corporation. And the response that we got back is that they would neither confirm or deny that they had contacts. We litigated that case. We went all the way up to the DC Circuit Court, who upheld the NSA's ability to say that about a wide range of documents. And then we found out this morning that in 2010, very shortly after we filed that request, that one of the co-founders of Google was actually allowed to sit in on NSA classified briefings. So there is a very close relationship, it seems, between NSA and companies. And it could be just regarding cybersecurity and seeing that individuals' information in corporate networks are kept secure, but there's also this other side where government actually wants access to the individual information, and that's what we're concerned about.
You know, I don't want to be overly naive here either, but you know, it's obvious when you have a national intelligence agency of a government, they're going to work closely with the private companies, especially for someone like a Google, for example, who has all this data. I guess the bigger question is, what are they doing with that data? And is there a conflict? Because at the same time, they're doing business together, but at the same time, these businesses are supposed to protect the consumers and its privacies.
And there are two different business models here. There's the business model of most of the companies that people use on the internet. There are 9 companies that were revealed to be partnering with the government: Google, Facebook, Dropbox. And these are companies that actually have, some of them have encryption technology built in, so they're trying to protect your information from bad actors and outside actors. But they don't have what we call end-to-end encryption, which means there's a spot in the middle where they're accessing your communications. If they built in additional security practices, they could actually bypass the government's ability to access our conversations, our communications, because it wouldn't be available to them. And if they don't have it, they can't turn it over.
For people like you and I, you know, we're on our personal email, we're on the Facebook, we're on the LinkedIn, we're putting information about ourselves voluntarily on the internet. Now, obviously, we know a lot of that is going to be public information, but I guess the question is, how do you protect yourself to the sense that somebody else can't use that information against us either today or sometime in the future?
Well, there are 2 ways to protect yourself here. There's the way to protect yourself from bad actors, third parties, who could hack into the system, break into the system, and get your information. And that's just by making sure that you're using a company that has encryption standards, that has it turned on by default. Then there's protecting yourself from governments that would ask companies to turn over the information voluntarily or would access that information from the corporate networks. The only way to protect yourself from that is either by quitting the networks and by moving into...
Deleting your Facebook account, essentially.
Basically, and going to something that provides end-to-end encryption, other methods, other companies, or by really just taking a step back and watching what information you give to these companies and putting pressure on them, really making a privacy something that companies compete on. I'm going to provide my users, Facebook, I'm going to provide my users end-to-end encryption and then try to encourage, you know,
But I mean, if you go to all the different websites and all the social medias, I mean, it all says the same thing, right? We will not sell your data. Privacy is very important, and they all have the different disclaimers. How do you know if your privacy has been violated?
There's very few ways to know that. There are data breach requirements in states, and if your information is compromised by a bad actor through a company to a certain extent, certain types of information, they do have to notify you of that. But those are really slight requirements. We've said they need to be expanded. People need to know when their information is compromised. When the government is compromising your information or requesting your information and receiving it, you will never know about that. This has been going on. The mass metadata collection has been going on for 7 years. We don't know how long PRISM or similar programs have been in effect, but there's no requirement that the government ever notify you that they've taken in your data, vacuumed up your data.